In this video, I will tell you how Jerry got his heart broken while at the same time losing $20,000. That's right, Jerry fell victim to a romance scam. Hi, my name is Martin. I'm the Happy Retirement Guy, and this is part of my series where I peel back the curtain to look at how scammers and fraudsters operate, what they do, why they do it, and most important, what you can do to avoid giving them your hard-earned money. Now, Jerry was 72 years old, still in great health, considered fairly good looking, and active in his community. His dear wife had passed away about 3 years earlier, and he kept busy. He had lots of friends, and life was good. Jerry was happy, he was content. But he did miss that extra connection you have when you have that one special person in your life. Now, Jerry thought about dating his community, but that really wasn't an option to him because they all knew his wife who'd passed away. They knew him, and it just felt kind of awkward. So he decided to go into the world of online dating. A few days go by, and he comes across a profile for someone named Susan, and they seem to hit it off almost right away. She was perfect, very good looking, which certainly didn't hurt. She had a great story and just seemed like to be a really good person. Susan explained to Jerry that she had divorced her husband after 30 years of marriage. He was not a very good person, and the only thing she got from the divorce was an old cabin about 3 hours outside of Denver, Colorado. She was currently in the final stages of restoring the cabin so she could rent it as an Airbnb and live on that money for retirement, because really, it's all she had. Well, it didn't take long, of course, for them to fall in this routine of sharing messages every morning. Good morning, sweetie. Good morning, handsome. How are you? And after a few weeks, Susan said, Jerry, why don't we exchange phone numbers? We can just text each other directly instead of going through the dating app. And that made sense to Jerry. It'd be a lot easier. So sure, time had gone by. He was really starting to have feelings for Susan. So they share phone numbers. They're now texting each other. Now, he wanted to do a video call with her, but because her cabin was so remote up in the mountains, she said the internet was just not that good, and she could only have access to it when she went into town. And going into town, she was always busy doing a million things, and it would happen eventually, but she just couldn't do a video call for now. That's a red flag, right? Well, they go through this routine. About a couple months into this relationship, Jerry sends a message like he always does. Good morning, sweetie. How's your day looking? Okay, how are you feeling? And she replied back, it's not good, honey, it's not good. So Jerry's, of course, rightly concerned, says, well, what's going on? And she explained, well, I just found out that my delightful ex-husband didn't pay property taxes on our cabin for the past 10 years. And now the county says I got to pay them $10,000 within 72 hours or I'm going to lose it. Jerry, what am I going to do? I don't have $10,000. You know my situation. Now, Jerry had some money. He'd done fairly well financially speaking. He could afford $10,000. So he says, you know what, Susan, don't worry about it. I'll get $10,000 to you. You pay that tax bill and then pay me back however you can, whenever you want to. There's no rush. Let me help you out. So, of course, what does Susan do? Well, she pushes back. No, she resists. Of course, I'm not going to take your money. I couldn't do that to you, Jerry. And this goes back and forth a little bit. And finally, she agrees to let Jerry lend her the $10,000 to pay these alleged, right, air quotes, back taxes. And now she's very happy. She's so relieved. She gets the money and says, Jerry, you're an angel. I don't know what I'd do without you. I think it's time for us to finally meet in person. I got the final inspection next Wednesday to get this place ready to start renting out. Why don't you and I meet the following Friday, 2 days later in Denver? Okay, I'll drive down from the cabin, from the mountains. You drive to Denver. We'll meet there and we'll just have a wonderful time. I'm so looking forward to meeting you. Now, how's Jerry feeling? Oh, he feels like a kid in high school. He can't sleep at night. He's so excited to finally meet his beautiful Susan. So the next week comes. It's now Wednesday, and he gets a message from Susan saying, Jerry, I'm sorry, but I can't make it on Friday. Well, what's going on? She explained, well, I just found out in this inspection that we had to get it ready to rent out that the plumbing in the bathroom and kitchen is too old and is considered unsafe. I now need $12,000 to redo all the plumbing, and I don't have the money. I mean, Jerry, I've come this far. You can't believe how frustrated I am. Now, he doesn't even think about it. All he wants to do is meet Susan in 2 days. He says, "Lynn, I'll send you the $12,000. Don't you worry. We'll take care of it." Once again, Susan resists. She protests and says, "No, I cannot take another $12,000. You've already been far too generous." This goes back and forth. And then finally, Susan says, "Do you know what? Here's a thought, okay, Jerry? I'll take the $12,000, but instead of a loan, I want you to buy into the Airbnb. Let's you and I be partners, okay? And we'll make this our cabin. We can stay here. We can generate income from it. I would much rather be your partner than be someone who borrows money from you." Well, Jerry loved that idea. Okay, he can lend her $12,000 or buy into the partnership. He can actually have it generate a return and see Susan on a more regular basis. This is like, oh, manna from heaven. It's a perfect solution. So Jerry sends her the $12,000. 2 days go by. He drives to Denver at the place they agreed to meet. And can you guess what happened? Or maybe I should say, what didn't happen? You're right. Susan didn't show up. She stopped responding to all messages, and her online profile on the dating site disappeared. It was all a scam. Now Jerry's heart is broken, and he's out $22,000. So I'm not here to say online dating is bad, but you've got to be careful. Here's some things you can do to protect yourself. Number one, never send money to someone that you haven't met before. Just don't do it. If they resist or refuse to do a video call with you, they might say they're up in the mountains, or they work on an oil rig, or they're traveling through Europe somewhere or Africa currently, and they can only text or message. That's a red flag. Okay, be careful. Now, any of these by themselves may or may not be a big deal, but watch for these red flags. When they say, "Hey, let's stop using the app, the dating app, to communicate, let's just go by text message or by email," they may do that if they're a scammer because they don't want the messages to be monitored, right? They don't want any evidence of what they're doing. So that's again, a cautionary thing. It's a red flag. Just be careful. Something else you can do is called a reverse image search. You take the images they have on their dating profile or ones they send you, and you search those images online. If you're not sure how to do a reverse image search, ask your family. They'll help you do it. You may find out that these pictures actually belong to someone else, oftentimes a celebrity, especially if they're good looking. Now, you might remember the band The Village People from back in the 70s. I saw a show recently where they interviewed the construction worker. Now, he's in his 70s. He's a good-looking man with gray hair and very distinguished looking. He explained to the interviewer that his image has been used in countless romance scams. And he gets calls and messages from the victims saying, well, they're distraught. They share their story. They ask, why didn't they tell him? Or sorry, why didn't he tell them? And of course, he has nothing to do with it, and he feels horrible that this is happening. So do a reverse image search. I also suggest that you really never commingle your accounts or do investments together until after you're married. And even when you're married, you got to be very cautious. If it's your second marriage and their second marriage, it might be better just to keep your accounts separate. Okay, well, that's the case study for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure and come back next week. Click like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks.